Hello Sunflowers, welcome or welcome back. My name is Auna and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a corner to corner blanket. Hi Tilly, are you coming to join us? There's only a few weeks left of the holiday season and I know that so many people want to make blankets for their loved ones for the holidays, but blankets are a really big task. In my opinion, corner to corner blankets are the fastest and easiest way to crochet a blanket. In a second, I will show you the blanket that Tilly is currently sitting on. I made this for my mom for Mother's Day in about a week. If you clicked on this video, I'm assuming that you want to learn how to make a blanket fast, whether that is for the holidays in a few weeks, whether you're watching this in July wanting to make it for somebody's birthday. You want to learn how to make a blanket fast, and that is exactly what we're going to do in this video. This video will be a tutorial for complete beginners, along with anyone who already knows how to crochet, of how to make your own corner to corner blanket. Is it all empty? There's a little bit left. This video, I'm not going to make a full corner to corner blanket. I am just going to be making a little swatch to show you how to make your corner to corner blanket. Now, like I said, I do think that corner to corner blankets are the fastest way to make a blanket, but obviously if you want to make a blanket even faster, use bigger yarn. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about in today's video. What yarn do I think that you should use to make your super fast corner to corner blanket before the holidays? Goodbye, Tilly. Thanks for hanging out with us. You can use thinner yarn, you can use thicker yarn, you can use whatever yarn you would like. But for me personally, a size 6 bulky is about the thickest yarn that feels really comfortable for me personally to work with. So this is a size 6 bulky yarn. It is Wool Ease by Lion brand. It recommends a size 9 crochet hook, but honestly, we are going to upsize to a size 10mm crochet hook because when you're using a bigger hook, you're going to have bigger and looser stitches and your project is going to go by faster. So if you are trying to get a blanket done before the holidays, size up on your yarn and size up on your hook. If you've never heard of corner to corner crochet before, let me show you how it looks. This is what a finished corner to corner blanket looks like. When you're making a corner to corner blanket, exactly like the name says, you're literally crocheting from corner to corner. We're going to start with the one little block in this corner and you're going to build it out, going like diagonally across the blanket. It's going to seem confusing at first, but once you're on a roll, it is seriously so easy. All you need to know how to do for this project is double crochet and chaining. So if you already know how to do that, you're already like halfway there. And if you don't know how to do that, don't worry, I got you. This is going to be a tutorial for complete beginners. Okay, if you're going to be following along, does everybody have their yarn and have their hook? If you're not following along, does everybody have a fun drink, preferably hot cocoa if you're me? Let's dive in and learn how to crochet a corner to corner blanket. The corner to corner stitch is like it implies. You are crocheting from corner to corner. So we're actually going to be working out one block at a time. The first row will have 1 block, the second row will have 2 blocks, the third row will have 3 blocks, the fourth row will have 4, and so on as we work from corner to corner. The only 2 stitches you need to know how to do a corner to corner blanket are chaining and double crochet. But before we dive into that, if you are brand new to crocheting, I'm going to first show you how to make a slip knot, how to hold your hook, and how to hold your yarn. How to make a slip knot. Hold the tail of your yarn with your right hand. With your left hand, you're going to make a little twist and put your fingers through the little twist that you created. Reach back and grab the yarn still attached to your skein and pull it through the loop. So let's take a look at that up close. Hold your tail in your right hand, twist your yarn. So you're basically creating this little like almost figure 8 looking thing. Put your pinchers back through the hole and grab the yarn that is still attached to the skein and pull it through. That creates your slip knot, which is where your hook is going to go. Speaking of the hook, how do you want to hold it? You can hold your hook however you want that makes you feel the most comfortable. I personally hold my hook like my grandma taught me, which is kind of like a steak knife, kind of like you're holding a steak knife. A lot of people in my comments have also told me that they hold their hook like a pencil. If that's better for you, you could hold it like a pencil, whatever works for you. I personally hold my hook kind of like a steak knife. Let us know in the comments if you are team steak knife or team pencil. Now on to how to hold your yarn. I'm going to show you once again, like how my grandma showed me. You're going to go around your pinky, under your middle two, over your pointer, and pinch. So once again, around your pinky, under your middle 2 fingers, over your pointer, and then hold your project right here. I think we're officially ready to dive into corner to corner. The first thing we're going to do is chain 6. Now, if you don't know how to chain, it's really easy. All we're doing is grabbing the yarn and pulling it back through the loop that's already on your hook. This is called a yarn over anytime you grab your yarn like that. So yarn over and pull it back through the loop that's already on your hook. Now you might be getting stuck. You might be grabbing your yarn and doing this. So if you're grabbing your yarn and doing like this, let me show you maybe how to fix that. Yarn over and then take the point of your hook and point it downwards. And then that should just slide straight through the loop that's already on your hook. Once again, yarn over, turn your hook downwards and pull it through. So once you've chained 6, you should very clearly be able to see that you have chained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's really important to be able to count them because we're going to be working into the 3rd stitch up from the bottom. So go to the bottom where your tail is and count 1, 2, 3. When you look at your stitches, you can kind of look at them as all of these little V's. And right now we're just going to be working into the top loop of that V. So once again, count 3 up. 1, 2, 3. See the little hole at the top part right there? That's where we're going to work in our first stitch. Like I said before, for this project, all you really need to know how to do is chain and double crochet. So right here in this part of the chain, we are going to make our first double crochet. To double crochet, yarn over, but don't pull it back through the loop this time. Instead, you are going to go through the hole we talked about right here. That third hole up from the bottom, go straight through there, yarn over again on the back side of your project, and pull it back through the loop. Now on your hook, you should have 1, 2, 3 pieces of yarn. Yarn over again and pull it through 2 loops. 1, 2. Yarn over again and pull it through the last 2 loops. That is how you do a double crochet. Now we're going to do that into the next 2 chains, here and here. Yarn over, go through your stitch, yarn over again, pull it through. On your hook, you have 1, 2, 3 pieces of yarn. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. For this last stitch, let's take a look up close. So we're going to yarn over and go through that first stitch right there, yarn over on the back side of your project, and pull it through. So on your hook, you should have 1, 2, 3 pieces of yarn. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And that completes your first little block. As we go through this tutorial, I'm going to be using this swatch that I previously made to kind of show y'all where we're at, because I think the hardest thing about learning how to do a corner to corner blanket is kind of understanding where you're at in the beginning, and you have to like kind of turn things weird and connect things, and it can get kind of confusing. But I think comparing it like this as we go is going to make it a lot less confusing, because you might be looking at this and thinking, how in the world is this the corner of a corner to corner project? Well, it actually goes right here. See how the tail is there? That is where it is right now. We have officially done row 1, that is 1 blocks. Now we're going to work on row 2, which is made up of 2 blocks. To start our next block, we're doing the exact same thing that we did to create this block. We are going to start by chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count 3 stitches up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Do a double crochet into the third one up from the bottom. Do a double crochet into the second one up from the bottom, and your last double crochet into that first chain. All right, let's take a look at this now. So you're looking at your 2 little bunny ear things and you're thinking, how does this turn into a corner to corner project? I personally think that connecting your first 2 little blocks, or first 2 little bunny ears, if you will, in your corner to corner is like the most difficult thing about a corner to corner project. So let me try to just show you this as simply as I can. I want you to take your project and lay it out exactly like mine is laid out right now. So we have the tail pointing downwards, we have bunny ear number 1 and bunny ear number 2, and then our hook right here beside of our working yarn. I want you to grab bunny ear number 1 and you're going to flip it. You're going to flip it up this way to where the top of your bunny ear is going to be touching your crochet hook. Okay, so let's do this again. Take your bunny ear and put it up here beside of your crochet hook. Take your first block that you made and twist it just like this. Now what we're going to be doing now is you're going to be connecting these 2 blocks. At the top of your bunny ear, you should see a big hole that is bigger than the other stitches you have previously worked into. Now right now you're going to be working into the bigger hole. To connect these 2 blocks together, we're going to do what is called a slip stitch, which is really similar to chaining. So what you're going to do is take your hook and go through the biggest hole at the top, yarn over on the back side of your project, pull through, and then pull straight through the loop that you were already working on. And there you have it. Your first 2 little blocks are officially connected. So if we take a look now with our example swatch, you can start to see how this is going to work up. We have the first row done, and we have the first block of the second row done. So now we're going to be making the second block of the second row. This next block, we're going to be starting a little bit differently. Instead of chaining 6, you're only going to chain 3. So chain 1, 2, 3. Now instead of working into the chain like we've previously done, we're going to be making our 3 double crochets into the hole that we just slip stitched into. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and 3 double crochets. And if I ever accidentally say half double crochet in this tutorial, I mean double crochet. I accidentally call double crochets half double crochets all the time. I will do my best in editing to go back and fix it anytime that I mess up, but in this project there are only double crochets, no half double crochets. I think I do that because half double crochet is actually my favorite stitch ever, and I'm just so used to working with a half double crochet and used to doing tutorials with half double crochet, so I apologize in advance if I ever call it a half double crochet. It is only a double crochet. So that completes row number 2. Let's once again compare it to our existing swatch. This will get more evident as our project gets bigger, but the one we're working on right now is actually going to be bigger than the previous swatch, even though they're the same exact brand of yarn and the same size of yarn, because I am using a larger crochet hook. So this will kind of be a good test anyways to see, sizing up 2 hook sizes from what I used on this one, how much bigger is the project. So if we lay it in the corner, you can kind of see how this is building out. Block number 1 makes row number 1, and then block 2 and 3 make up row number 2. Now that we're finished with our second row, I think y'all can start to see how we are truly going to be making this project from corner to corner. So let's go ahead and start on our third row, consisting of these 3 blocks. Now that we're back to the edge of the project, we're going to go back to chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we do what we did in the beginning, where we count up from the base, 1, 2, 3, and we do a double crochet into each of those first 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. You might be looking at it right now and being like, what is going on? How is this corner to corner? Well, once again, we have to flip it, flip our project, and connect the 2 blocks. So let's take a look at it. Hold the block you're working on right now in your working yarn in your right hand with your hook, and take the other part and just twist it upwards. And now find the biggest hole at the top again. This hole was created by the chain that you had made earlier, so it's going to be once again bigger than the holes we were working into in the chain. Put your hook through the hole, yarn over, and pull it together with a slip stitch. Now you can see, right, our blocks are connected. It is starting to look, once again, more like a corner to corner project. We've just completed our first block of our third row, so we need to make 2 more blocks for our third row. Now, since we're not on the edge, we're not going to be chaining 6. We're only going to be chaining 3. 1, 2, 3 into the same hole that we slip stitched. Make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we don't have to flip anything here, but we do need to connect these 2 blocks. So go to this block and look for that top hole that was once again created by making a chain. It should be the largest hole at the top. Put your hook through, yarn over, and create your slip stitch to connect the 2 blocks. Once again, comparing it to our swatch, if we lay it out here, you can see that we have 2 out of our 3 blocks made for the third row. Now this part can be tricky because you might be looking at this and being like, well, I'm on the edge, right? I need to chain 6. You're not actually on the edge yet. You need to actually make 1 more block for right here to complete out your third row. So we're not chaining 6 yet. You're just going to chain 3, 2, 3, and do 3 double crochets into the same hole where you put your slip stitch. So let's say you do a couple double crochets and then you pause for a second to maybe grab, you know, a sip of hot cocoa, and then you pick back up your project and you can't remember how many you've done. You might take a look at your project and you might count 1, 2, 3 and think that you've created 3 double crochets already, but that's not actually the case. Your first one right here is that chain 3. You're truly making little clusters of 4 if you really look at it, because the first one is your chain 3 and then you have 3 double crochets. So when you're looking at it, every time you should count 4. So here I would count 1, 2, 3. Okay, I need 1 more, 4. And that completes my double crochets for the third row. Once again, now that I am on the edge, we are going to be chaining 6, but before we start our next row, I want to talk to you about increasing versus decreasing, because this is a really important part of making our corner to corner projects. So far, we've only been increasing, but obviously if you just keep increasing forever, your project would just continuously get bigger and it would be just like this giant triangle. It would never actually look like a blanket. So this example swatch is 4 blocks wide and 5 blocks tall. And I made this to kind of represent what your throw blanket would be like, because most throw blankets are about an average of 4 feet by 5 feet. Truthfully, when I made this throw for my mom, I didn't measure anything. I completely eyeballed it. You are totally welcome to just make it as wide as you think you want to make it and as long as you think you want to make it, and when it feels right, just start decreasing. That's what I did with this, and weirdly enough, I made it almost exactly 4 foot by 5 foot. I actually went back in today and I took a look at this blanket and I counted how many blocks I did for the width and how many blocks I did for the length. I ended up doing 41 blocks for the width and 51 blocks for the length. Now, I'm not saying to go by this. I'm honestly kind of hesitant to even tell y'all how many blocks across and lengthwise I did on my corner to corner blanket because I don't want anyone to just blindly follow that. The amount of blocks you're going to need for your blanket's width and length are going to have so many different factors that go into it. You're going to have to think about your yarn size, your hook size, how tight or loose your tension is. So like I said, my blanket's width was 41 blocks across by 51 blocks long, but that's just what I needed to make my throw blanket. When you're making yours, maybe start there, add more if you need to, frog it a little bit if you need to, but definitely don't just go by what I did because everyone's project is going to be a little bit different. So for my example little swatch right here, like I said, I made 4 blocks across and 5 blocks in length to kind of represent our 4 by 5 blanket. Right now, I have done 3 blocks across and 3 blocks tall. Now that means that I need to make my project 2 blocks taller and 1 block wider before I start the decrease. And we'll get to how to decrease in just a minute. But for now, we're going to continue to increase on the side by chaining 6. Count up 3 chains from the bottom, 1, 2, 3. Do a double crochet into the 3rd stitch. And then the second, once again, a double crochet is yarn over, go through your project, yarn over on the back side of your project, pull it through. You should have 3 pieces of yarn on your hook, 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And our last double crochet. Once again, we have our little loose block over here on the side. What do we need to do? We need to take our project and we need to flip it to be able to connect these two. So if you're confused at this part, don't worry, this part is confusing. Lay your project out on the table exactly how mine is. Take this part of the project and flip it this way. So once again, we're going to take it, hold this one in place, flip it this way. Now we have the first block of our 4th row. Once again, we need to connect the 2 blocks. So you're going to go through the top hole and slip stitch them together. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do your 3 double crochets into the same place where you slip stitched. Once again, we need to connect our 2 blocks, but this time you don't need to do anything. If you lay it out flat, you'll see that it's looking exactly how it should look. We just need to connect these 2. So once again, find the top of your next block, go through and slip stitch them together, chain 3, and then do 3 double crochets into that top hole. Once again, we need to slip stitch our project together. So find the top hole, go through, and slip stitch it together. Once again, this might look like you're on the edge, but you're not on the edge yet. You need to make 1 more block. If we lay it out on top of our other project, we'll see exactly where we are. For row 1, we have 1. Row 2, we have 2. Row 3, we have 3. For our 4th row, we have 1, 2, 3, and we need to make 1 more block right here. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and do your 3 double crochets into the top loop. So like I said, I'm making this swatch just 4 blocks by 5 blocks. So as you can see here, we are currently 4 blocks by 4 blocks, which means our width is done. I just need to go 1 more in length. Now, if you're making a blanket, obviously you're not going to stop after 4 blocks. Like I said, when I made my blanket, I started decreasing the width around 40 blocks and the length around 50 blocks. But for the sake of time for this tutorial, we are just making a swatch and we are going to start decreasing after 4 blocks. So the goal right here is we don't want to be making this project any bigger. We're not building out anymore. We're going to start building this direction. So if you take a look at the swatch that I already made, see how this one stops after 4 blocks, but this one goes on to 5 blocks? That's what we're doing right here. Instead of continuing on out, we're going to start building the project back up this way. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So the next block that we make is going to go right here. How do we get from here to here? We need to do slip stitches up this edge until we get to right here. So we're not going to be chaining 6 this time. All we are going to do is slip stitch up the edge of this project. So you're going to go into each of these holes, yarn over, pull it through, and then pull it straight through the loop already on your hook. I'm gonna go really up close here so you can see exactly where I am going into the project. Yarn over, pull it through, pull it straight through the loop already on your hook. Through the next stitch, yarn over, pull it through, and pull it through. Once you've done those 3 slip stitches, the last thing you're going to do is do 1 more slip stitch into the top hole that we're going to be working into. Now, the rest of this is pretty similar to what we've already been doing. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do 3 double crochets into that top hole. Once again, we need to connect our blocks, so go through the top hole and slip stitch them together. So let's take a look at our example swatch compared to the one we're currently working on. Wow, it actually is bigger. So this is the same exact yarn, but using 2 sizes of a bigger hook. I had done this with an 8mm hook. We are currently working with a 10mm hook. Look at how much bigger the project is. I know that doesn't look like much right now, but on a whole blanket, that's a lot bigger for the same exact amount of time crocheting. I think I would definitely recommend sizing up if you really want to have your blanket done by the holidays. So now that we've done the first decrease, let me show you how it looks. You can now see how it's starting to get smaller rather than continuing to get bigger. If you were doing this the way that I did my blanket, you would still have to increase multiple more times before turning. So there's going to be a period of time where when you get to the end of your width, you're going to be decreasing, but when you get to your length, you're still going to be increasing. And that can get a little bit confusing, but it gets way easier with time, trust me. Continuing on with this row, we are going to once again chain 3, 3 double crochets into that same hole, slip stitch these 2 blocks together, chain 3, 3 double crochets once again into the top hole, slip stitch these together, chain 3, 3 double crochets into the top hole. So let's take a look and count our squares to see if we are ready to start decreasing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 across. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in length. We are indeed ready to start decreasing. So right now we are going to slip stitch our way down this row. And then 1 more slip stitch in our top big loop that we're going to be working our double crochets into. Now we are back to where we need to work. Chain 3, 3 double crochets into the top loop, slip stitch these together, chain 3, 3 double crochets. Once you've started decreasing, you are going to be shocked at how fast the blanket feels like it's going. Because like when you're starting, it's getting bigger every time, which means more stitches across every time. So the first half of the blanket feels like it takes forever. And then the second half of the blanket just like genuinely flies. Because every single time, especially once you're decreasing on both sides, every single time the blanket gets smaller, and it means that you have fewer blocks to do as you go across. So like right now, we're already back over to the other edge. We are just going to slip stitch this together, turn our project, and slip stitch our way down this row. 1, 2, 3 down the side of the project, and then 1 more slip stitch into the open hole at the top. And now we are ready to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then do our next set of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Once again, slip stitch these 2 blocks together, chain 3, 3 double crochets, slip stitch these 2 blocks together, and look at that, we are already back over to the edge again. Flip your project, slip stitch down the row to get back to where you need to be working from. 1 more slip stitch into that top big loop. And oh my goodness, do you guys see where we are right now? in our project, let's take a look. We literally only have one block left. This is beautiful. This looks great with this yarn. Y'all, I might need to make a blanket out of this yarn. Wow, that is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let me show you how to finish it off. For our very final square, once again, chain 3. And once again, work 3 double crochets into that big top loop. And for the very last time, we are going to connect our 2 blocks together. So go through that big part one more time, yarn over, pull it through, and then pull it all the way through the loop that was already on your hook. I know it's scary, but you can go ahead and cut your project here. Take the piece of yarn that you cut, put it through the loop, and pull it tight. That will secure your project. The last thing we have to do is weave in our ends. I personally like to just use my crochet hook to weave in my ends, especially with a big yarn like this. Cut off the tail, go back here and weave in my first end. And that is it, friends. That is how you crochet corner to corner. And once you're done with your blanket, it should look something like this. If you've made it this far, and if you're new here, welcome to the Sunflower family. My name is Auna, and on this channel, we do sometimes crochet tutorials, sometimes crochet projects, or knitting projects, or DIYs, or builds, or Renaissance fairs, or cat videos, or hair videos. What else we do here, friends? Thrifting, a lot of things. A little bit of everything cozy and quirky, and we do new videos every single Monday. Hope to see you in the next one. I almost forgot to say this, but if you have any questions about this tutorial or anything about crochet, let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to help. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just a girl whose grandma taught me how to crochet. Okay, I'll see y'all in the comments. Bye!